The silence in the hallways of the Star After minicamp creates an atmosphere of extreme urgency that few fans can ignore. This isn't just another ordinary offseason in Dallas Cowboys history. The weight of the Lone Star on their jersey demands immediate answers, and the external pressure from the national media is reaching unsustainable levels. The roster, designed and modified through surgical signings and aggressive moves, now needs to prove its true worth even before the official training camp begins. The coaching staff knows perfectly well that every decision made in the coming weeks will dictate the pace of a journey that will only succeed if it ends in the Super Bowl. The fans carry that classic mix of renewed hope and hardened distrust from years of unfulfilled promises in the NFC East. Looking at the current roster structure, it's clear that management has devised a strategic plan focused on increasing internal competition at absolutely every position on the field. There's no more room for the complacency that destroyed promising campaigns in the recent past. The search for depth and quality in the roster has become the absolute priority after the latest market moves, and the coaching staff is ready to make ruthless decisions if necessary to protect the team's competitive ceiling. Fans who closely follow the training sessions can feel that the sense of urgency has drastically changed the players' attitude on the field. The stage is set, and the America's team's machinery has begun to turn in a completely unpredictable direction, where the chasm between absolute success and total failure has never been so narrow in the recent history of our franchise. To understand the current configuration of this roster, we need to revisit how the structural gaps have been addressed since the end of the last regular season. The excessive reliance on individual players last year took a heavy toll in crucial moments. The management understood the message and changed the team's approach, injecting a massive dose of young talent and versatile players into areas previously considered vulnerable. The linebacker core underwent profound transformations after suffering from chronic depth problems, while the secondary was completely shielded with the arrival of elite reinforcements that raised the technical level of the defense. On offense, the natural evolution of the plan sought to protect quarterback Dak Prescott, not only by keeping the offensive line rejuvenated, but also by creating a true battleground for the immediate backup positions in the backfield and receiving core. Before we delve into the details of this historic rebuild, I want to know your honest opinion as a fan. Do you believe that this current roster depth is the missing factor for Dallas to finally dominate the National Conference? Or do you still see some critical weakness that could ruin our plans this year? Leave your comment now, because your participation builds our community. Historically, the Cowboys have always been known for assembling stellar rosters at the highest level, but severely failing in the sustainability of the group when injuries started to appear along the way. The focus has radically changed, and recent history serves as the foundation for the new direction we are about to witness. The evolution of training during minicamp made it clear that the coaching staff found answers in some areas, but opened up real battles for playing time in others. In the most important position in the sport, while Dak Prescott leads uncontestedly, the competition for the QB2 spot has heated up in a way no one imagined. The daily rotation between the experience of Sam Howell and the raw explosive potential of rookie Joe Milton shows that the coaching staff wants to test the evolutionary ceiling of each player under extreme time pressure. Milton faced a steep learning curve coming from the Tennessee offense, which is anything but friendly by NFL standards, forcing the team to alternate snaps with Howell to gauge who better balances safety with the ability to create explosive plays. In the backfield, the evolution is directly linked to finding a spark of speed. While Javonte Williams and the versatile Hunter Luepke have secured their spots on the final roster, the real battle for the RB2 and RB3 positions has pitted Malik Davis, Jaden Blue, and Phil Maffa against each other. The coaching staff's internal desire is to see genuine improvement and a collapse in the competition, caused by Jaden Blue, who did absolutely everything right off the court during the offseason and brings an element of pure speed that is lacking in Williams' more measured and physical style. Phil Maffa is a dark horse, bringing power, but his style suffers from redundancy, opening space for veteran Malik Davis to use his vast experience on special teams as a shield to maintain his guaranteed spot against the new talents. The current situation within the Dallas roster explodes in competitiveness when we look at the wide receiver core and the offensive trenches. Behind established stars like CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, the landscape has become a true no-man's land where roster spots have become an absolute luxury. Ryan Flournoy and Kayvon Tate-Turpin have well-defined roles, but the fight for the WR5 and WR6 spots has put veterans like Marquez Valdez-Scantling and high-investment players like Jonathan Mingo at real risk of being cut if they don't show immediate usefulness on special teams. On the offensive line, the situation has taken a dramatic turn with Matt Hennessy's serious injury, which has placed him on the injured list and sidelined him for the entire season. This has accelerated the need to define the immediate backup on the ends of the line. The coaching staff has adopted an intriguing strategy, constantly rotating Nate Thomas and Drew Shelton in the left tackle 2 and right tackle 2 positions. This behind-the-scenes maneuvering indicates that the coaching staff isn't necessarily looking for someone to unseat rookie Tyler Guyton as the undisputed starter, but rather trying to discover who has the necessary versatility to assume the crucial role of swing tackle for the team. The competitive gap between Thomas and Shelton seems much smaller than their gap to Guyton's elite level, creating a technical impasse that will only be resolved when the swings begin on the training field. Each repetition in current practices carries immense tension because the players know that any positioning error could cost them their jobs in the NFL. On the defensive side of the ball, the current situation is one of sheer abundance of physical talent and complex tactical choices that showcase the team's new identity. At the edge rusher position behind the legendary Rashawn Gary and Donovan Asaku, the coaching staff has created a testing ground. Sam Williams has a clear path to the roster, but the real battle is for the 5th and 6th wave of passer specialists. James Houston stands out as the purest and most lethal pass rusher in the secondary, while Maris Liufau offers incredible versatility, allowing him to float like a traditional linebacker and dominate on special teams. Charles Snowden recently signed on a 2-year contract without substantial financial guarantees, impressed the coaches with his mental focus, and emerges as the biggest surprise among the new faces. In the center of the defensive line, the top is world-class with Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark destroying screens. But the backup spot has pitted Otito Ogbonia and Jonathan Bullard against each other. Bullard fits perfectly into the aggressive tactical approach the coaching staff demands to stifle the running game of division rivals. On the second level of the defense, the biggest question mark of the season remains at the linebacker position. The focus is entirely on defining who will carry the green dot on the line, the brain that commands the defensive calls on the field. The ideal scenario is to see DeMarvin and Overshown assuming this responsibility with maximum authority, but D. Winters' consistent development on the weak side creates a fascinating tactical dilemma for the coaching staff to resolve. To understand the real impact of these changes on the team structure, we need to analyze the cold, hard numbers and the recent production history of these players. The pursuit of a more vertical offense is justified by the need to improve the average yards after the catch, an area where Dallas flirted with mediocrity during offensive slumps last year. The inclusion of players with pure speed characteristics like Jaden Blue aims to break the statistical predictability of the running game plan. On defense, maintaining a heavy rotation on the front line is supported by statistics on quarterback pressure efficiency in the last 2 quarters of games. Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark historically draw double blocks on more than 30% of rushing snaps, which theoretically clears the way for the linebackers to attack the open spaces at full speed. If you want to continue following this in-depth statistical analysis and receive first-hand updated projections of the final roster that will be released in the coming days, take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Your support is fundamental to reaching our goal of 250,000 subscribers in our fan community. The competition in the secondary also brings impactful numbers. The coaching staff has placed Caleb Downs to play primarily in nickel's position, seeking to maximize his statistical ability to force turnovers and limit yards after the short pass, raising the floor of a defense that cannot afford to concede big plays in decisive matchups against the main rivals in the National Conference. The final analysis of this comprehensive roster overview presents us with a clear fork in the road for the Dallas Cowboys' future in the 2026 season. The front office has managed to create a fiercely competitive environment, something the roster desperately needed to eliminate any trace of complacency behind the scenes. The technical depth in the secondary, led by names like Savon Revel and Kobe Durant, battling inch by inch on the sideline, ensures the defense will have fresh legs and maximum intensity throughout all 4 quarters of any game. The critical point that will dictate the true ceiling of this team remains the speed of adaptation of the backup offensive line and the consolidation of firm command in the linebacker position through the green dot. If the young talents live up to expectations and fill the gaps with the necessary energy, this group has all the technical tools needed to break the divisional round curse and put the franchise on a direct path to the title. However, if the battles for positions generate technical inconsistency, or if the lack of a solid backup plan for special returns takes its toll, we run the real risk of seeing the plan crumble before our eyes. The margin for error in today's NFL is microscopically small, and the pressure on the coaching staff is brutal. Will these bold decisions and this revamped roster depth finally lead the Cowboys back to the Super Bowl, or are we about to witness another season full of frustrations in the heart of Texas?